Hi guys, welcome to Fierce and Pretty. Honey here. Today I'm just chilling underneath the blanket. It's finally Friday. Nasty week at work. And I've seen this tag popping up in the YouTube. I haven't had a lot of time lately to be spending on YouTube, but I ended up watching Lennon Smith's and then Candy Soul and Soils and then Ravenflower's original video of this tag. So I thought that maybe I'd try to see what comes out of my tired brain for these 22 questions. And I will have to be checking out the prompts on my phone. So let's do this. So, New Year's resolutions, do you believe in them? And I'm gonna combine the questions number 1 and then the question number 2, why or why not? So when I was younger, I used to do New Year's resolutions every year, and it was a big thing, but they kind of never ended happening. It's like when I used to be a smoker, when other people told me to quit smoking, and then I would be like, yeah, sure, I will do that. But if you promise kind of something to somebody else and you're doing it out of their wants, your inner motivation is just not there. And the same kind of happened to me with New Year's resolutions. I just made them because they were these things that I was supposed to do. And I didn't have the inner real motivation to do them. So I stopped many years since. Now mostly, and I don't do it so much now during New Year's. I rather kind of use Imbolc as the timing to set kind of an energetic intention for the coming year. Like what I'm willing to let go and what I'm willing and wanting to replace it with. Like if I would want to be less lazy and more energetic, then I would focus on how to get more energetic. Like, I don't know, making nettle tea, getting more vitamins in my system. So working towards getting more energetic and doing things to be more energetic, if you get what I mean. And then, what is my favorite color? I'm Scorpio. I'm gonna give you a second to think and guess. Go ahead, guess. Yes, probably you got it right. Yes, it's black. Black has always been my favorite color. The question number 4 then is, does your favorite color hold magical or emotional meaning for you? And yes, I think black has a lot of magical meanings. And some people feel that black is kind of absorbing all the light and everything. I don't. For me, black is not just only kind of the color of transformation or death. It's just so many things for me. And yes, for me it has a lot of meanings. And it's not anything like black magic or anything darkness. No, to me black is simply beautiful. Then question number 5, do you use substances for divination or meditation? And mostly just incense. Like there you see I have my frankincense burning. Frankincense is one of my favorite incense to use, but other than that, mostly no. But on special occasions, I might be drinking and slinging cards. Like I've done tarot in a bar, drunk to friends and things like that. But mostly in my daily practice, just I can do things with or without, any substances. But sometimes, yes. And then the 6th question was why or why not? If I happen to be willing to be drinking it, to me those are not. I very rarely have an intention of using any specific substances and then doing some workings, but sometimes, for example, wine is a part of ritual and those things, but it has its place there. So I think wine and incense would be my most used substances in ritual work. But for example, divination, I just mostly would rather do it just clear-headed. But sometimes it's also really fruitful and fun when you are a wee bit tipsy. And then question number 7. What is my favorite part of my practice? I'd have to say growing. Personally, just growing, just learning more, going forward. There are so many things, like small things that are fun like working with herbs or crafting something with, like doing something with my hands. I enjoy that. I enjoy studying. There are just so many like practical things that are fun, but the most that I really enjoy is the growth and the learning curve. That's just, at least for now, since I'm so early in my path or my craft, that there is this uphill climb kind of going on. I know there will be plateaus at some point, but I'm not there yet. And then question number 8, what is the least favorite part of my practice? The top of my head, I can't really think of anything, because if I don't like something, then I probably just won't do that. But maybe the fact that I don't have enough time. Maybe that's the thing, because I have to work, I have to, be mom, I need to, for example, now I should be vacuuming the house, going buy food for weekend, but instead I'm here filming. So a lack of time would be the thing that I would choose. Because other than that, I love when I get to immerse myself into my practice, whatever it is. Number 9, how do you feel your practice has grown over time? Well, my journey hasn't been that long. It's been like 3 years, something. I don't know. COVID has just simply taken away my sense of time totally. A little over 3-4 years or something. And for me, where I'm now, I finally have kind of a clear idea what's going on and what is happening. In the beginning, the worst thing was that things just kind of started happening, and these random stuff that I didn't feel that had any connection to each other just kept on popping in my life. And I was really, the confusion was the hardest for me to deal in the beginning. And so gaining this clarity, this understanding, why am I on this path? Why do I have a craft? Why do I have this, my own practice? Now I understand why, and I don't feel confused anymore. And of course, I've learned a lot, and I now have developed my own systems, and I've learned enough of different types of witchcraft practices that I know what interests me the most, what are the things where I want to put my time in, and what I want to get out of this, and what I can put into this. So this kind of clarity, I think, even though my answer might not be really clear. 10. Is there a show or movie that inspires you? Can I guess a no? I do, and I have watched probably all the witchy programs on streaming services like Netflix. People have been talking about the discovery of the witches. We are watching that now with the hubby. I'm loving it. There are many good series, but for inspiration, mostly I would have to say no. I don't get kind of inspired by TV shows. I find most of my inspiration in ideas rather from some good podcast episodes or some of these golden nuggets in YouTube videos, no matter if it's astrology, tarot, whatever. But the real inspiration that gets me excited doesn't often come from TV, no matter how much I love like series, and I like the older ones where we go back in time. I would love to be a time traveler so much. That would be, my favorite thing. So of course I love in different series when people go back in time and travel in time. Those are the absolutely best things, but still haven't inspired me to develop a time machine. I wish I would be smart like that so I could just do that machine. Yeah. Do you have a familiar? Yes and no. I do have my leather cat, who you might hear, because every time when I start filming, normally she's nowhere to be seen. But whenever I put my camera on or start doing a ritual, I start hearing her little paws on the wooden floor going around, and she starts to go round and round. Her name is Smeagol, named after Smeagol. So, and then my dog Minnie. As I know, they are pets. They're not familiars in that way as I understand familiars to be. So, but for example, my dog, she always knows when there's something wrong in me, mentally, physically, whatever. And she comes to me and she will try her best to heal me in every way. The funny thing was like yesterday I was getting a new tattoo, still under cream here. So, and then she kind of, I don't know, smelled it or something. And she came to my lap and started sniffing the area around the tattoo, and she was clearly worried that there's something wrong with me and she wanted to help me. So and I just get so much joy out of my dog every day, and I practice my energy work because my daughter, the hubby, they don't want to practice my energy work with me, but my dog, she's always willing to be my training buddy in energy work. And I love that. But like in the astrals, no, not particularly. Number 12, would you recommend any YouTube channels? There are so many, and I don't know. It's so dependent on what everybody is interested, because I know that not everybody is interested about the same type of witchcraft that I am. Of course, I have a broad range that I watch, but I enjoy some specific channels that might not be for everybody. Like I've talked about many times of the Head's Education channel where they have this series called Covendom, where they talk about initiatory witchcraft, and it's like Wicca is not for everybody. For example, number 13, name something you must do daily for your mental, emotional well-being or for your practice. I wouldn't say that there's anything that I must do, like, or the world would explode. I don't have as severe things like that, but things that I do every day. When I'm home, if I'm traveling, then no. But when I'm at home, every day in the morning, I light the candles on top of John. And every day when I get back from work, I light my candles. And in the evening, I snuff my candles. I never blow them out, but I snuff them. And I don't care if it's sunny, dark, whatever the weather, but I do have candles going on. It's just something that happens daily. But I have other things that I do daily. I've started, finally, James Feeney, if you're watching, I know you're proud of me. I've finally started journaling. I've been journaling now for several weeks, 3 pages per day, and I finally understood. Finally, after all these years, I understood why everybody keeps on telling to journal. Because I have so busy life. I have something going on all the time. I'm listening to podcasts in the car. I'm working. There's constant noise in my head. And when I read, there's no room for my own thoughts. When I meditate, I try to have a blank slate. So I've never had that time in my life, in a daily life, to sit with my thoughts in a way that they are allowed to come out. And it's different. If I just try to sit in silence and think, that doesn't give me the same result as the journaling does. So it took weeks, but I finally it clicked, and it's been something that has been missing, and it's been really giving me a lot. Even though 3 pages is not much, but every day I get new thoughts on the paper that I didn't know that I have in my head. So that is something good. Drinking water is it's part of it's not so magical in any way, but water is really important to me. And what else? I guess those are the most kind of now must do's. Number 14, what is something that started as an obstacle but you can now see as a blessing? And that is actually the thing that I talked about already in the question 9. Because I had these obstacles of not understanding where I was going, this lost feeling. But maybe now I feel that I kind of needed it, because there is a lot of transformation in the air. And I have finally understood that I was kind of forced into this path. I wasn't seeking it, I was forced into it. And first it was just uncomfortable, but now I'm really feeling blessed that all this happened, because I don't know what my daily life would be without my practice now. It's such a huge part of me, just the way I live nowadays, that it would be hard to imagine myself without that part anymore. 15. Which do you prefer, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? Ooh, I have all of these. I mostly use YouTube and Instagram, Facebook really rarely anymore, not so much. But I've also learned to enjoy TikTok a bit. I haven't posted anything. I don't know. It's way too confusing. I don't know. My daughter tried to show me once, but I was like, oh, no shit. Oh, where was I? The doorbell rang. TikTok, yeah. I don't post anything, but I've learned that it has its time and place every now and then. But for me, my social media usage has dropped a lot. I don't know, in a past year or so. Is maximum if you add on all the times that it could be like max to half an hour a day that I spend in social media, roughly. And I think it's good. Of course, I'm missing a lot of great YouTube videos from channels that I would love to follow, but I just don't have the time. And sometimes, most days, for example, when I do my makeup, I have a YouTube going on. So at least I can multitask on those times, on my favorite videos. 16. What do you feel is missing from our witchy community? Well, I can't say that I have such a long and good understanding about and what even is witchy community, but what I find would be great to have more is acceptance, because I think, for example, there is a lot of, some people are always dissing somebody. I know historically it might have been, as far as I've understood, wasn't in the scene back then, but like people who were initiated or into traditional witchcraft, Wicca, that they might have been dissing people in the history of internet earlier, people who were more eclectic or something. But now I feel kind of there's also a change of scale, that people are dissing the traditional Wiccan path a lot. But for me, why the F should anybody else care what somebody else is doing? As long as, like, who cares what I'm doing if I'm not forcing you to do the same thing? It's just let everybody enjoy what they are enjoying, and rather just, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. And people who watch the witchy community from outside, they think we are all crazy. So I think, why couldn't we be all crazy and happy together? Kind of that is what I think would always be welcomed. Focusing on everybody focusing on their own business. I mean, not going to somebody else's channel and be just, telling them that what they are doing is stupid or they're not valid, or you get the point, I guess. 17. How much space do you use for your supplies and spell work? A lot. It started really small, but it spread throughout the house. I have my herb cabinet. It's kind of filled with herbs and stuff, like my incense, my oils, whatever, the turquoise. And it was originally meant for the summer cottage, but now it's in the house and things have exploded. I have John here. John used to have all my books, but now John has, it's not organized yet. It's still kind of decided what's going to be inside John, but now there are some random tools in there, like books, notebooks, my spell box where I collect. It's a different way of collecting. I also have a notebook where I write things down, but the spell box is more for kind of like recipes that are easy to find. And then upstairs I have my tarot addict. There's most of my tarot junk there, and then everywhere, a lot. And then kind of like the question 18, how many altars do you have in your home? Technically 4. So on top of John is like it's not a working altar. It's just for kind of devotional work. It's it is just there because it's beautiful and it's always present. It's the thing that I use kind of daily. Then up in the tarot addict, I have like a working altar where I can do tarot, I can do spells, I can do whatever. It's like there I can do messy stuff. But then I have kind of like the ancestral altar on the window. It's just the only thing that I do there is candles or offerings, but it's just there on the window. But now I kind of have fourth. It's my kind of meditation altar. It's not really an altar, but technically it is. I have my card holder there, and I do these weekly pull, and I use this spread for my meditations, and I made frankincense tea lights for myself, and that's where I sit in front of my meditation, even though I bought a meditation armchair upstairs, but I never ended up using that chair. I always went to meditate in the bedroom because the attic is here. I can't close the door, and there's never a silent time in this house. So that's why I end up meditating in the bedroom where, I can shut the door and put my earphones on so I can have a moment for myself. And then, of course, in the bedroom, then there's all my books and whatever. So a lot of stuff everywhere. Too much maybe, but one day when I get my own big house with my own garden, then the house will be bigger and the stuff will fit nicely, hopefully in my own special room, so it wouldn't be all around the place. 19. What is my favorite Sabbath? I would have to say Litha, because in Finland the midsummer has always been a big deal. It's a really huge deal, and it's always been kind of really pagan vibed celebration in Finland. So it's always been an important time, and everybody is usually happy, and there's bonfires, and all the way from childhood it is kind of Sabbath that has always been in my life, and that's why I love it. But I enjoy celebrating all the Sabbaths, so each one of them gets me excited, and I do acknowledge them in some way, and I love planning for Sabbaths, even though most of the time I do things myself, but still. 20. Do you prefer tarot, runes, oracle deck, or pendulum? Tarot most of all, then maybe runes, then maybe pendulum there, and oracles, no, not so much, but I'm a tarot girl, definitely. But I really love runes too. 21. Are you in the broom closet? Kind of no. Well, I'm not shouting about it to everybody, but still, can person be in a broom closet when you walk like this? I don't think so, but I don't talk about it if anybody doesn't. If you don't ask me, I don't talk about my craft, but if you would ask me, I wouldn't say no. So no, not in the closet anymore. Last question, because the battery is running out on the camera and I need to vacuum and stuff. So who are you going to tag in this video? I want to tag Saturnarium, if she would be willing to try this, because I love her witchcraft is so different than mine. Mine is so different up here in the north than hers down in the Brazil. So that's like the opposites, and that's what I meant in the part where I would just love to see people doing their stuff and everybody just accepting that whoever wants to do their stuff their way can do their way. So maybe that's why her. But all in all, I would love to see everybody who ends up watching this, and if you have your own practice, I would love to hear from all of you, I don't know, Maybe Lennon already, well, whoever feels like talking, that would be fun. But now I gotta stop before the battery dies. Until next time. Bye guys.